Let's explore capsaicin, the molecule behind spice in peppers. In this lab, we're actually building off of another lab designed by Vayu Mani Richter, who also worked with Harvard's Science and Cooking program and is the founder of Young Chefs. We've linked his original lab below, in which you saute peppers in butter and water to look at what types of mixtures capsaicin likes. We'll be doing that while also looking at different parts of the pepper to see where capsaicin is concentrated in the pepper. First, cut your pepper in half and look at the different parts. In addition to the main flesh of the pepper, you'll notice on the inside that there are seeds as well as a membrane, which is the lighter color flesh around the seeds. Our goal is to separate out the membrane and the seeds from the rest of the flesh. You can do this by just using your hands to pull it off or use a knife. The reason you're separating out the different parts of the pepper is you're going to saute each one separately. We'll do two different trials. The first trial will be the flesh of the pepper, and then the second trial will be the seeds and the membrane. Now that you've separated out the different parts of the pepper and your two trials are ready to go, let's walk through what you're going to do with each trial. The cooking process is exactly the same for each trial. You'll take a small sauce pot, put it over low to medium heat, add in some butter, and then once the butter is mostly melted, add in the part of the pepper that you're cooking. Here we did the flesh part. Saute until the peppers soften. You'll probably notice that the butter browns as well, which is totally okay, but if you notice it's browning really quickly and getting close to burnt, make sure you turn down the heat. You can also use oil to prevent this problem because it won't brown or burn, but it doesn't taste as good. Next, you'll add in water and continue to saute for a minute or two to infuse the peppers in the water as well. Then take everything in your sauce pot and pour it into a larger cup that has a strainer over it to catch the peppers so you just get the butter and water. When we did later trials, we realized that we don't technically need a strainer to strain out the peppers. You can just add it all in, although straining them out just allows you to see the separation of the butter and the water a little bit more clearly. So let's talk about that. And when we're talking about the science, we're actually going to talk about oil in place of butter, but it's the same exact principle. The reason the liquids separate out is because oil is non-polar, also known as hydrophobic, meaning it doesn't mix well with water. You can learn more about this in our Science Behind Peppers video. From here, we're going to take a dropper to get a little bit of each layer so we can taste it and determine how spicy the layer is. The spiciness will all have to do with capsaicin, and more specifically if capsaicin is nonpolar or hydrophobic, or if it's polar, meaning it's hydrophilic. Does it like to mix with the oil or does it like to mix with the water? There's only one way to find out, which is tasting each layer. Okay, so that's the first trial. For the second trial, you're literally going to follow the same exact procedure, but just do the seeds and the membrane and saute that. And then you're going to compare all of the different trials. So you're going to compare the two different butters, the one that's sauteed with the seeds and the membrane and the one that's just the flesh, as well as the two different water samples. And you're going to rate them on how spicy each one is. While you can certainly try out each sample just as is, we highly recommend using a tortilla and dipping it in each sample so it's just a little bit more enjoyable and it still allows you to test out the spice levels of each sample. From here, we can figure out two things. We can see what capsaicin likes to mix with. Is it a fat like butter or is it water? And we can also think about where the capsaicin is concentrated in the pepper. The most obvious way to tinker with this is trying out different peppers. There are so many to choose from. And whether you want to first look at the Scoville heat index to decide how spicy the pepper is to determine what ones you might want to do, or just go in blind and try out some different peppers and see how it goes, it's totally up to you. Be sure to check out our Science Behind Peppers video to think a little bit more about the findings you might see in this lab. Thanks again to Vayu for giving us a starting place for this, and we hope you enjoy it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos.